Network, the solution for humanity.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are continuing with our series Dawah Ilallah, and we are using the comparative sciences on helping us to become better da'is, or people calling to the submission to the one true God. And we have looked at many different ways that we can call people to Islam, what we need to know about their beliefs. And we spoke about last week, or last time we were together, at what will be expected from a revert when he goes and he tells his family, listen, I reverted. Or somebody who is a born Muslim who decides now he wants to start practicing the deen of Islam correctly. Same problem may happen to a born Muslim as to a revert. But often when we are trying to look at Islam, we battle to understand what Islam actually is itself. We battle to figure out, how do we explain Islam to our friends? How do we explain the basics of Islam to our family? How do we explain the existence of God? Maybe you have your family members who maybe are Muslim that have a strange idea of who God is. Maybe you have non-Muslim friends who battle to understand who God is. So the atheists, the agnostics, the confused out there would like you to believe that this is all just science, it's all just pure luck that we're on planet Earth. We all just evolved. Everything is just an evolutionary process. The idea of you needing a God is just a crutch. You don't need God in your life. There's no need for belief. You guys are just weak because you have a need for a God. So how do we deal with issues of explaining who Allah is and what is the purpose of Islam in the first place? What's the purpose of worship? How do we explain our worship to people? Well, first and foremost, many people, the accusation that they make is say, Islam is a crutch. 100% correct. Islam is a crutch. When you've got a broken leg, you need crutches. And we've all got broken legs. We're quite happy to admit that Islam is a crutch. If we were not needing a crutch, we wouldn't need to submit to God. The fact that every single human being on planet Earth is broken and injured and hurt means we need a hospital. And the hospital, in this case, is submission to God. Everything about this life is difficult. It's hard. Nothing comes easy. If everything in life was easy, we wouldn't need to go to university. We wouldn't go to school. We wouldn't go to college. We wouldn't need to go to work. We wouldn't need to get a salary. We wouldn't need to teach our children. It all just fall on our lap the day we were born. The minute we were born, everything would have been there. Nice big check account, the Ferrari, the BMW, the nice 4-story building, everything would have arrived. It's not like that in life. In life, it's hard. In life, we need guidance, we need help, we need to get somewhere. So we're all broken, we're all sick, we all need a crutch. And because we choose to follow the only salvation that is possible, and that is to submit to our Creator and God, Allah, and you want to say that is a crutch, we're happy to accept that version. Yes, we are sick. We need a hospital. We need a crutch. If you think you've arrived and you don't need crutches and you don't need a hospital, well, I don't know. You must be the only human being on the planet who doesn't. Every single person needs help and crutches. Imagine that a person was walking past a scrapyard. And there in the scrapyard there were old freezers, old fridges, parts of a car engine, maybe some lawnmower engine, all bits and pieces. And you and the atheist were standing there. And you said to the atheist, do you know that when the wind blows through here on a Friday afternoon, all these parts blow together and they turn into a Boeing 747. He would look at you and you go, you're crazy, you're mad. You say, no, it happens. You must come here on a Friday afternoon, it happens. Wind blows through and all these pieces all assemble by themselves into a Boeing 747. He'll never believe you. You think you're crazy. Yet he wants you to believe that the winds of time blew through the sea and through the ocean and through the hourglass of time. And suddenly we came to who we are today, standing here in this perfect form as we are now. But he wouldn't believe you if you told him that happened in a scrapyard. So there are certain things that no matter how you try to convince him, he will never believe it. But he wants you to believe his versions. The whole idea of this all just being chance, this being a weakness of who we are, our weakness that we need a God, is because people have a wrong concept or understanding of who God is. They have a wrong concept of what worship is. They have a wrong concept of what submission is. We submit to Allah because we are conscious of who Allah is. We're not doing this unconsciously, we're doing this consciously. It's not a need from Allah, it's a need from us. Allah has no needs or wants. He requires nothing. So there's many atheists will often say, you guys have a God who has an inferiority complex because he needs you to worship him. He doesn't. He has no needs, he has no wants. No, that is a human quality. That is our flawed human thinking. Allah is wanting all humanity to worship him because of the benefits humans get from it. So you have to understand that Allah has no requirements. There's nothing he requires, no sustenance, no refreshments needed. You know when you go to a hospital and you're going to have an operation, what do they put above your bed the day before? Nil per mouth. It means don't give them any water or food. It's a sign that's put there. Allah has no requirements. Zip. Nothing. Not even 0.000000000.1 does he require of anything, of any sort, at any time, at any point in history, or in the present or the future. He will never have any needs. We are the ones that are in need. And so, when we submit to God, we are the ones who get the benefit. He gets no benefit. So, you have to understand that when the atheist is saying to you, or the agnostic or the doubter is saying to you, you people have a God who needs, you have to explain to them, he has no needs. It's we who have the need. When we pray, it's not because our God is in want. It is because we are in want. We are the one who walk away transformed. Like I said before, this computer, for an example, is giving nothing to the electricity department. It is only getting from the electricity department. It's giving nothing back. The electricity department doesn't go, oh, thank you for the data you sent us through the electrical wires. They've got nothing. Only the computer received. That's what worship is. We're giving nothing. It is your own benefit that you change. So worship is who Allah is, and worship are very different to what they are projecting onto you by what they say. That applies to Christianity. That applies to Hinduism. That applies to Buddhism. That applies to all the religions in the world where their God needs something. That he can be conned. That he can be tricked. That he can be lied to. That he can be deceived. You can't deceive God. You can't trick God. You can't lie to God. It's not possible to do that. He doesn't walk through the garden and go, Adam, Adam, where are you? Like we are led to believe in the Old Testament. It's not possible. So the whole idea of who Allah is different in Islam to any other religion in the world. Some people say, well, we only believe in cause and effect. We want scientific proof and evidence. It's no use you saying all this. Yes, it's wonderful. You're giving analogies. Prove it to me. That's good analogies, Areeb. Well done. But doesn't prove it. I'm a scientist. Cause and effect. If I put this and this together, this is the result. I can see it in front of my eyes. Good, glad you asked for it. Because I'm going to give you some proof. The very formula that you required is called cause and effect. If there's a cause, there is an effect. Therefore, you have a result. This existence has something that created this existence. It didn't just happen by itself. There has to be something that caused it. And being that caused it is what we have now. And the effect is that we are living on planet Earth. Just like science requires, we are giving you a designer who put this all into effect. And this effect that we are seeing on planet Earth is an intelligent design. Now some people say, yeah, you're giving the intelligent design argument. There's 3 arguments for the existence of God that people give. One of them is called intelligent design. Well, that's what science requires. Science says we want proof. There has to be something, and this is the result of that something. Here we agree with you. There is Allah who created what we have, and this is the existence that we're living in today. So the only being that can save us is not some guru, not some interpreter, not some interpretation, but Allah Himself. Only Allah can save humanity. And if you want to doubt, and if you want to question, you're welcome to. Islam does not say you can't question, and you can't doubt. That's how you find answers. The way you find results is to question and answer. And we're proud of the fact that many people in the world doubt. Because when they eventually come to the point where they believe, then they become successful. They become people that will benefit. Now, Islam is not a new religion. And this is very, very important when speaking to people about Islam. It's the same religion that God has revealed, that Allah has revealed to all the prophets at every point in time. There's never been a people that the message wasn't given to. Imagine if we lived on a little desert island somewhere. You know those typical one palm tree, coconut in the tree? And there were like 6 of us. One of us would have been a prophet. Allah would have chosen one of you to give the message to this group of people. Today, 1 in every 4 people is a Muslim. Used to be 1 in every 5. Now it's 1 in every 4. There's a lot of Muslims in the world. We're everywhere. So perhaps if there are so many Muslims, you owe it to yourself to find out more about Islam. Before we go any further, we need to take a break. When we get back from the break, we'll continue, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. When we talk about Islam, how to explain some of the basics of Islam. There's much more technical ways of doing this than I'm doing. This is just some of the basic ways that we can do it to help people understand what Islam is all about. Simple ways of explaining it. Often people will ask you, well, what is Islam all about? And we say that Islam is peaceful, it's merciful, it is a religion of forgiveness, and that the majority of Muslims would never hurt anybody. In fact, this is not what we say, this is what is found on the CIA's website. It says that 99.6% of Muslims are, and I'll quote, religious people who are peaceful, merciful, and forgiving. And this is found in a report written by the CIA in 2011. So according to them, 99.6% of Muslims are not dangerous, are not terrorists, are not killers, are peaceful, loving, kind people, and have nothing to do with extremism of any sort. So then why is it that the media projects us as crazy Muslims, as insane Muslims? It's because those people who control the media don't promote good news. If good news doesn't sell papers, radicalism sells papers, craziness sells papers, weird abductions sell papers. In my country, I have a newspaper, like a tabloid, writes all this nonsense. Chicken found with 3 heads. Man abducted by alien. Tokolosh exists. The Tokolosh is something that in Africa is an old folk story. It's about this little mythological, like, dwarf who lives in the water and he pulls people into the water. It's like a golem in Lord of the Rings. So this newspaper always has the craziest headlines. Like, grave diggers dig up goth instead of goth digging up a grave. So it always has the strangest headlines. And that is the most popular newspaper. Tabloids are the most successful newspapers and magazines. The more crazy the headline, the more you'll sell the newspapers. Magazines and newspapers that are more factual don't sell as many. So they have to find ways to sell that newspaper. maybe like a well-known publication. The reason it sells so many is because it has the most beautiful photographs in it. And so it doesn't exaggerate anything. It tells things about historical facts, beautiful places. But the reason people buy that publication is because of the beautiful photographs. If there were none of those photographs in that publication would have been gone a long time ago. Because it only deals with facts. And the facts would not be good enough. So you'll find in that publication beautiful stories, but most of, you know what I'm talking about, I'm sure you all know at home. But it's the photographs that sell that book. People buy that because of the beautiful photography, the beautiful research that has been done. But the articles are small. The photos take up most of it. But generally speaking, people don't want to hear good news. They want to hear bad news. So this is why the media sells the story about the 0.4% of the Muslims in the world. And they focus on that. So often we hear that people will say, well, you know, I would become a Muslim. I like Islam, but it's an Arab religion. You know, most of the people that are Muslims are Arabs. In my country, they say, I would become a Muslim, but, you know, Muslims are Indians. So it's an Indian religion. So that's why we're not becoming Muslim. Because in my country, the majority, almost all of them, are Indian, from the Indian community. But the funny thing is that only about 18% of the community that are Muslims come from Arab countries. All the rest come from non-Arab countries. So we find that the vast majority of people are not from Arab countries in the first place. In America, we have the largest new Muslim community. That means they're not coming from other countries and working there. They're not born Muslims. These are new Muslims, revert Muslims. The accusation has often been said that, well, the reason that Islam is growing in Europe is because of all the people that are coming from Arab countries and Muslim countries to work in Europe. This is nonsense. This is an example of the media doing their thing again. They're not realizing that in Germany, they stand in lines outside the mosque, in lines, in some of the mosques that I went to. It looks like you're waiting to go to get your tickets to go watch your latest blockbuster movie. And they're waiting in line to take Shahada. Streams of them on a Friday. These are not foreigners coming to work there. These are new brothers and new sisters coming to take Shahada. Because they make them wait. And they say, okay, on a Friday, after the sermon, stand in line, and they come through after, next one, next one, next one, next one, next one, next one, next one. Do you want to see this? Do you not believe it? You want to go see it? Go to YouTube. Type in there German reversions. You'll see not one or two or three or four or five. You'll find tons of them, hundreds of them. The population of Muslims in Russia is exploding. These are all reverts. Don't believe it? Type it again. Go check. See the photos. See the videos. Photos can lie. Videos don't lie. Watch the people. They're filling up. You can't fit another Muslim into that place. And this is not in the mosque. This is on the streets I'm talking about, in Moscow. The whole street is packed with Muslims trying to perform their salah. They can't even build mosques fast enough. They can't even hire places fast enough to house these people that are reverting to Islam. Do not believe the story, oh, they're coming to work there and this is where they're coming from. That's nonsense. Some countries it is like that. But in Europe, in America, in places like that, in Russia, it's not the case. Maybe it's South Africa. You'll see a lot of people coming from other parts of Africa, and we see that that is the case. It hasn't had much growth in South Africa. That's why it's still new territory to do dawah. That's why I live there. I enjoy it there, because there's good opportunities for dawah. So there are many, many Muslims who are not from the Arab background. They're not coming in as workers. They're reverting to Islam. And they're from all different cultures and all different nationalities. We're seeing huge births. And in some places like China and North and South America, there are not enough scholars to teach them. Some of the people there haven't got anyone to teach them. Can you imagine? They're just reverts. Imagine, who's going to teach these people? Got 2,000 reverts and no teacher. And they're having to learn online. The guy who's been a Muslim for 3 weeks longer than the rest, he becomes their imam. He becomes their teacher. It's exciting and scary times. Exciting because there's so many people becoming Muslim. Scary times is there's the danger of getting the wrong teaching. So we have to make sure that we have good teachers there. So we as Muslims have the opportunity when we're doing dawah to teach people the correct understanding of Islam, to teach people about who Allah is, to give them the right understanding about what we believe about angels. Because this has become the latest craze. I don't know if you noticed this. Everywhere you look, there's websites about angels. There's books about angels. Go to a shop and you have a look at the ornaments they're selling. The majority are angels. People are angel crazy. We're living in an angel crazy society. There used to be a film on when I was a kid called Touched by an Angel. It's been a fixation with men for I don't know how long. Angels, 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 angels. So don't just brush past it when explaining angels to reverts or to non-Muslim, because they have a very strange idea. People are praying to angels, people are worshipping angels, people have got angel visions, angel guides, every distorted version of angels you can think of. But they haven't got an idea what Islam teaches about angels. So we need to make sure that we explain this concept. It is quite a difficult one to do, but when you explain Islam's understanding of angels to a non-Muslim or even a revert, he loves it, because it actually makes sense. But the versions that they've been fed and nonsense they've been told, I mean, aliens are like aliens. Angels are aliens now. Because, you know, the UFO ufology or something, the UFO circles. An angel and an alien have the same names. An alien is called an angelic angel of light. And an alien is called the bearer of light or the angel of light or the being of light. So now they've thrown these things over each other because aliens and angels have become the same thing. So we must be very, very cautious when talking to people about Islam that we explain angels, because most of the world, in fact all the world, has very strange and distorted versions. And it's the most sought after thing on the internet, other than pornography. If you look at Google where it tells you like the most searched thing, angels. Second most searched thing. Scary. That's how crazy people are. They won't look for God, they won't look for anything else, they're looking at angelology. And then of course when we are talking about Islam, it's very important to explain the whole idea of prophethood. What is the purpose? Why? Why do we need a prophet? Can't revelation just be given without a messenger, without a prophet? What is the role model? What was the requirement of a prophet? A prophet was a role model, something that we need to emulate. You know, we have a captain of a football team. Why do you need a captain? There's no need to have a captain of a cricket team. What's the purpose? What's the purpose of having a captain of a soccer team, football team, whatever it is? There's no purpose. But there is. He's the role model, person that they look up to, so the rest of the team will work together. They've already got a manager. It doesn't make any difference. Surely if you have a manager, you don't need a captain. You need a captain. The captain is there to hold the whole team together. In the same way as the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and all the prophets were there to hold the team together. We need a captain. So this is what it's all about. So these are ways that we can practically explain some of the concepts of Islam. It's all the time we have for this week, so make sure you join us again. So for me, Areeb Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
مشفق متعطف لا ينتهي بالحصر ما